everybody, it's Saturday and we're back with Dungeons & Dragons. Hooray!
Hooray?
Hooray!
Hooray.
Right.
I was really hoping that Wyrot would go, hooray!
Macho Man
I roll
say
initiative.
hooray. Macho Man goes, yeah! And ooh, yeah!
That's his daily power.
Oh dear.
So now we're making the Macho Man class canon.
It is a monk variant. Focus more on grapples, much how the grappling fighter is focused on grapples.
Hana is not going to talk like Macho Man.
I know.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking, let's have a grappling monk.
Macho Monk.
Macho Monk Savage. It's the Scald, actually.
So what happened last time?
Last session, you guys finished clearing out the mine.
Uh-huh.
And you ran into what you're what basically indicated that it was Gloom. It was Gloom. Lord Despair, one of Lord Despair's minions. I remember that correctly. Hooray! At the very end, you fought a bunch of nameless beasties, and so on and so forth. Gloom chatted with you for a little while before buggering off.
It is worth noting that this Gloom was not a grass poison Raffalacia.
No, it was not.
I am never going to stop making Pokemon jokes.
That seems unlikely. That is true.
Cool. You'll get them about as well as when I talk as you do when I talk about War Machine.
Hey, at least I understand you in general when you talk about War Machine.
Okay, fair enough.
The only one who understands me when I start talking about Pokemon is Yolna and maybe Wyrot.
I
What do
get
you mean,
some.
maybe?
I get some of them. If they're older. Anywho, Gloom made you guys an offer which, so far at least...
We could refuse.
Which most of you refused, if not all of you. I think all of you refused it
Well,
at
now
the time.
that Alice isn't here, yes, all of us refused it.
But you have, as far as you can tell, at least cleared out the mine and have found out sort of what was going on down there. Gloom had, at least it seems, Gloom was behind it. Why Gloom was behind it, you're not entirely certain at the moment. All you know is he made a deal with some humans, wizardy type, who seemed to be behind a lot of the undead down there. So it was probably sort of dabbling in necromancy, which seemed to have been a gift from a gift of power from Gloom. At least that was what Gloom seemed to imply. Since necromancy is not one of those things that you can normally do very easily. At least the spellcasting type seem to be under the impression, and all of you seem to be under the impression that necromancy is one of those things like, wait, what? That's not... How? And that is where you are at the moment. You guys can leave the mines at your leisure. You basically, if I remember correctly, I basically hand-waved you guys clearing out the last of the scattered undead in there, because there were some skeletons, maybe a zombie or two left.
Yeah.
And there's no real point in making you guys fight those fights out at this point. So, yeah, that's where you guys are. Basically, you've returned to the surface.
I win.
Well, surface, I should say. Surface and asterisks. Since you are still under the mountains inside the dwarven city of Ironhame. So that's where things are. And when you reemerge, the City Watch people, sorry, not the City Watch technically. It's the council. It's the council's guard technically, you guys were being overseen by while you were in protective custody. Quote, while what's his bucket was doing investigation.
Right.
I mean, double check his name.
Because we were accused of a crime, and that was...
Yes, you were accused of a crime that you did not commit.
So we piled in our van and
Right,
Wrong
exactly.
campaign.
Yes, you are the A team, of course.
Ba, ba, ba.
We need to have an A-team feng shui game sometime.
Ain't getting on no plane.
Now, the A team is remarkably doable in feng shui.
Yes, that's why
Yes.
I said that.
I know.
I will play Murdoch, but he'll be a cybernetic monkey from the future.
You're already playing a cybernetic monkey from the future, Eric.
I thought you were
But I'm having
proposing
a
like
lot of fun doing it.
I thought you were trying to propose an illogical idea here. All right. But so at this point, the immediate threat for the mines is gone, and there are no other. Well, actually, we still have to deal with the crime. So, where are we right now with relation? Are we still stuck in the mine?
You guys have come back out. You guys have come back up out of the mines, and you are met outside by the council watch people who were there to make who were there mostly to keep miners out, people out, so they don't didn't wander down while you were dealing with whatever awful stuff was down there, and they didn't get themselves killed.
No minors beyond this point. Adults only.
Yeah, pretty much. So when you get back up there, the count you come back out victorious, but somewhat beaten up, if I remember correctly.
I had 3 surges left.
I think I had
Maybe
like
two.
one left.
We kind of blew a lot of healing down there.
Yes. You guys fought your
And
way
we
through.
weren't going down there completely fresh either. I
No.
don't think.
You were basically fresh. But that is not neither here nor there. So anyways.
Didn't help we kept getting crit.
No.
We kept getting crit by minions.
Mostly, yes.
Maybe
That's
you. I
true.
kept getting crit by zombies. That's why I lost like 2 surges from the first encounter.
At any rate, so the watch people sort of see you guys. One of them turns to you and says, "So, what happened?"
Sure. Your minds are safe from an undead infestation once more.
What? Oh, right. Well, what? No. Tell you what, you should probably report to the chief.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I'm too young for this stuff.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll go report then.
Yes.
Yes.
The chief is whose name I'm actually forgetting, and somehow it didn't write it down. God damn it!
His new name is Francois.
It was like I think it was Iron Shield actually. That's what it is now. So eventually, one of them goes off to they bring you back to the house that you guys were assigned to be staying in instead of prison.
Are we going in with all the huff and bustle of being in a prisoner car, or are we just going there as is? Don't give a fuck.
They
We're
had
probably being escorted.
You're being escorted over to a house that they made sure nobody but them are watching. So.
All right. So we're still armed and it's.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You're not actually. You are only officially under arrest.
Right.
Can't you put on these handcuffs? Oh, do you still want me to clear your mind? Okay. I imagine they would be very lenient with this.
They are being well. Again, Iron Shield was pretty sure that you guys were innocent. So
Yeah.
Or who was it that was trying to push it through? I forget. Or do we even know?
You
We don't
didn't
even
get his
know
name.
yet.
He was a detective. That's all you got.
No, I was trying to figure out who was pushing.
We
Okay,
suspect
never mind.
that the people who attempted to frame us are the people who are pissed off at Yorm.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. You are.
I
Yeah.
remember now.
You're fairly certain that the people who are framing you worked for Seamus Stoneground, who is the noble who's at odds with Yorm, who has problems with Yorm.
Yeah.
So
It just happened a half dozen times.
I like how every session we go by, Bjorn becomes an increasingly awful person.
Yorm
I
is
was married at the time. I was, you know.
He gets on Catherine Aramia's case for being interested in the darker side of the magical arts, and meanwhile he's over here breaking laws like habits.
that Yorm actually never broke a law.
Okay. Social contacts, we'll say.
How was I to know that she was the minister's daughter, who was married after the 6th time?
She wasn't married at the time. It was perfectly on the up and up.
Okay.
Now she might have had there might have been sort of an arranged marriage thing going on,
At the time,
but she wasn't hitched yet, and she wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, perfectly fine. Understandable even.
And at a very minimum, Stoneground kind of
This makes me-
overreacted.
It's like, with all of those details, I'm honestly wondering what Hana's reaction to all of that information is.
They weren't married yet.
And to be perfectly
There's the
fair,
getaway vehicle.
Stoneground did overreact. Let's just put it that way.
Fair enough. Honestly, I'm on Yorm's side in all of this on a player side of things. But yeah.
At any rate,
Apologized.
you get back to the house, and a while later, you guys have time to sort of clean up, have some food, and apply bandages and feel less beaten up.
I'm taking a bath.
That happens, sure, not a problem. But about a couple hours later, Chief Ironshield shows up, and he basically asks you to gather in sort of around a table so you can talk. He says, so, what did you find down there, and has it been dealt with?
Undead, and yes, in that order.
Undead.
yes, undead.
You
So,
call dead things
mostly the
walk around
deceased
and try to kill
miners.
people, right?
that they're real? I mean, I've heard stories about The Walking Dead, but
The only thing down there that we commonly saw outside of the mastermind in question that was not in fact undead were bone spider constructs.
Why would you make those?
The mastermind has been dealt with.
okay. Well, that's
Well-
good.
Hey, mastermind, there was a nameless there too.
What now?
That's what we're thinking it was, because it had gribbly shadow beasts and tried to make a deal with us, and we told it to fuck off. But
There's not much one can do about those directly without preparation beforehand. It left in any case.
I do. Okay. All right. So, bad shit. That's really beyond my personal understanding and honestly area of expertise. Right. But so they're cleared out. You're saying the mines are safe to mine in again.
aye, we got
Correct.
them. We think they should be all cleared out.
Okay. Well, I have made
You
some
might
progress.
consider bringing a priest or something to consecrate the mines at some point.
That
but for
sounds like
all
a
intents and
really-
purposes-
That sounds like a really good idea. I will suggest that to my superiors.
Yes.
That sounds like an excellent idea. All right. Well, right.
You can get back to work immediately, but for preventing future issues, that is my advisal.
Okay. Right. On your side of things, I have made some progress. We've managed to find some people that we think we'll be able to. We managed to basically track down all of the witnesses against you, the ones who identified you, and they're currently being questioned to see if we can sort of shake their stories up a little bit or anything like that. See if it's their from talking to a few of them, I haven't done I haven't fully interrogated all of them yet. But my impression is that after a while, their stories are going to start changing somewhat because it's pretty clear to me that they were paid to give the stories they did.
Would you say that the story sounded a bit too rehearsed and concise in their relation to each other?
They're definitely too. They seemed a bit rehearsed, and they were too. There was not enough variance in the details between them.
Right. You would expect, especially with what the event, with how traumatic the event would have been, that there would have been some omissions or additions made by some of the individuals
and
in their stories.
And in general, I found that eyewitness testimony tends to vary a bit between them because they will have seen different things, they'll remember things slightly differently, and so on and so forth. And it was just too similar.
Right.
But right now we're making progress, and hopefully, my gut feeling is we should be able to at least throw enough doubt on it to set you all free by tomorrow. So you'll have to spend the rest of the night here, tonight here, and probably a good chunk of the day tomorrow. But after that, you'll be free to go.
Yay!
I really do appreciate your assistance with the clearing out the mines.
In reward, I give you your 5th party member back.
I went and said, "Oh, I'll lay down and listen to things and wait for Skype to make noise." And then I fell asleep, apparently.
Aha!
Okay, with regards to, my family, I was still hoping to aid them a bit. Was there at least someone who was able to assist with the road cannon operations while I was not available to aid them?
We did send someone to alert them that you were in custody and were being questioned about something. And I made sure to send word that I was fairly certain that you were innocent and that you'd be freed relatively soon. Beyond that, I really can't speak to whether they. I don't know whether they were able to bring in someone else to help out, but.
Well, that's unfortunate, but understandable given the circumstances.
Yeah. So. Hopefully, I'll have good news for you tomorrow.
Good.
But for the time being, we will be effectively held as prisoners, and I'm pretty sure that you're going to ask to take our weapons away from us during our time.
As long as you don't leave the premises, you can keep your weapons in here all you want. I trust you guys with them. All right, then. Technically speaking, you are not. As far as I'm concerned, you're not under arrest. I'm asked that you don't leave, just so we can keep the fiction that you're under arrest up. But you are not. I'm not. I have. I don't have any guards directly posted on the doors to prevent you from leaving. So if you decide you really want to, no one will be stopping you. I do have some people in the area watching the place, mostly to keep. To at least let us know if there are people coming into the area that shouldn't be. And technically speaking, they will know if you do leave, and they'll probably let me know. But I won't do anything to stop you. And
Understood.
It just will make things easier if you don't. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I sit down on the nearest piece of furniture and,
But there's plenty of food and drink and such here. There's a good fireplace, comfortable beds. Appropriate, bathhouse and such. So
Much appreciated. I'm
Get
just
arrested
gonna go
more
hang
often.
around the chessboard again.
all right, thank you very much. I will hopefully see you all tomorrow.
Good day.
And with that, he leaves. And you are left alone in the building.
well, first things first is clean off all the dead guy gunk off of my stuff.
Yeah.
And get it out of my beard.
I assume that you guys had taken care of that during taken care of some of that during the 2 hours you had before you arrived.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You had time to clean up and bandage yourselves and such.
Yep.
And
At
then you
this point, Arami is basically just playing chess with herself unless someone else volunteers.
Gorm will play a game of chess. He's not very good at it. He's just referring to the pieces as, like, the horsey and the castle and the guy with the pointy hat.
At least it's descriptive. And not inaccurate, but in its description.
That is a rook, not a castle. A castle is a maneuver.
No, a castle's a fortification that looks like this guy.
Oh, jeez.
Technically, that's not a castle. That is a tower.
Yes.
You're right, you got me. So we'll call it the tower then.
Next thing you know, you're going to be calling the rook performing the castle the Ironback or something insipid like that.
I call it the Ironback. There's no iron on here. They don't seem to have backs. I mean, is there a facing I should be worrying about on these? He says, holding it up, looking at the piece.
At this point, Aramia performs an en passant. Just blow Gjorm's fucking mind.
Yes, the en passant. One of my favorite little chess moves that people often forget about. At any rate,
What do
is
you
that
mean
the
these pawn guys can't attack straight ahead of them? That's stupid.
that's one of
is
the
en passant? Is that when you can go diagonally to capture a pawn that's technically passed you by?
effectively yes. It's in passing.
Right.
So
Something
basically,
like
if
that,
if the pawns are adjacent like that, you can take like that.
Right. As opposed to having to go directly towards them.
Yep.
My understanding of it was, like, strictly speaking, if you have a pawn on the fifth row relating to yourself, them starting out on the second row, and an opponent brings out a pawn to their fourth row, your fifth row, then you can do the diagonal attack move with your pawn and take their piece without actually moving into the space they occupied.
Right. You move into the space behind them.
Yes.
The actual particular rows don't matter. It's just they just have to be adjacent to each other. The two pawns just have to be adjacent, horizontally adjacent to each other.
Yeah, that's not the way it was taught to me, so apparently I learned something new.
It almost never comes up.
Yeah, it's one of those things that no one ever thinks about, and then someone pulls it out of their ass, and then everyone goes, "Oh!" And it's one of those.
Yeah. But at any rate, you have several quiet hours, actually. Nothing bad happens. Nothing at all remotely bad happens for a good long while. But after dinner time, after you've eaten and such, and it's sort of, you've had time, you're sort of spending time sort of lounging about the place.
It's a rook.
Thought a rook was a kind of bird.
That's a rook.
No, a rook is a type of bird. It's related to a crow.
Yep. It's a corvid.
Corvids are awesome.
I need to get one that's a familiar. I need to get a magpie as a familiar for Vindeus. It would just be too perfect.
Yeah, it would actually.
But, you know... Sorry, go ahead. Unless anything important needs to happen for you guys that you guys want to do will happen before, you know, say about time-wise, like say 8:30 or so in the evening. You know, by our times.
The only thing that Vinez would have asked in addition would have been to ask if someone were to relay a message to Gex that that they are back under custody, but in a better circumstance than before.
We can assume that was relayed on.
Right.
But at about 8:30, there is a knock on the door.
Surprising that they would do us the courtesy.
Damn it! I wish I didn't do that. I
I'll
was
answer
knocking
the
on the post for my desk to make a knocking noise, and I missed with my knuckle, and I hit like the flat of my fingers. Damn it!
Ouch!
Got right on the corner. Shit.
I'll answer the door.
All right, you open the door, and standing outside the door,
I have failed at wooden objects.
standing outside, you see a dwarf with sort of a very, very neatly coiffed white hair and very impressive white beard, braided white beard, wearing extremely nice clothes, some nice golden rings and jewelry and such. And standing behind him are a bunch of very well equipped and about four very well equipped and well armed guards, who dwarven sort of soldiery types who sort of almost have the sort of aura of bodyguards about them.
Gotcha.
He looks up at you and says, you are, I believe the name is Hana I've been given?
That is correct.
Yes. Excellent. I am Nori Goldhelm at your service. I was looking to hopefully speak to you all. I got some information that your group was staying here, and I have some things I'd like to discuss with you if you are amenable to that.
Do come in.
Thank you. He turns back to you gentlemen can wait out here. They all nod. Yes, sir. And they turn and take up sort of guard positions outside the door. They don't look ecstatic about the fact that he's asked them to wait outside, but they seem to. They accept the situation, basically.
Right.
One of them seems like he wants, like the guy who looks like he's probably in charge of the four of them, looks like he desperately wants to insist on coming in, but he seems to know better, apparently, or something along those lines. It's like, fine.
Reckless boss is being reckless again. Damn it all.
So he walks in. He follows you in. Gjorm,
Yes.
you actually recognize him.
Okay, who is this guy?
Excellent.
He is a member of he's a member of the council. He's a noble, obviously, unshockingly. You don't know much about him other than, he's been on the council forever, as far as you know.
Gotcha.
And he's reasonably well respected. He generally doesn't get involved in a lot of the politics in general. At least, as that's what you've heard. That's what you've heard about him. He doesn't get involved in like the nastier politics. He sort of stays above it and just
Right.
At any rate, so
some of those in American politics.
he sort of looks around and says, well, the commander's done a very nice job of selecting a good location for a safe house. Barely even knew this place existed. Master, Master Blackhammer, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. Is that the right phrase?
Yes, that will serve. He looks around and sort of, may I sit?
Hi, yeah, right here.
Thank you very much.
I'll give him my seat.
So I've through various sources I have here and there, and people I've talked to, I've heard about some of the trouble you've been having, all of you. Admittedly, most of it's tied through a dispute Yorm here has had with one of my colleagues, I guess you could say, Master Stoneground.
Aye.
So that boy can hold a grudge, as you can tell. But I think there's something more going on here than just him, harboring a grudge against Yorm, and therefore, wanting to get him in as much trouble as possible and causing all the rest of you inconvenience at best. I think he's playing at something a bit more dramatic, and I'm not entirely certain what it is. So I wanted to come here and sort of get a... You five, apparently the people whom you've been accused of murdering, you encountered before. They gave you some trouble at an inn, correct?
Yes.
Right, but we didn't kill none of them.
Right. Oh, I assume that as I assume that all you've been charged of has been fabricated. From what I've been able to gather, that seems to be the case, and I very much suspect that Seamus Stoneground is behind it. I doubt very much that Chief Iron Shield will actually find proof of Stoneground's connection to them. He's far too good at covering his tracks. He's not been connected to anything at all. I've long suspected of having been involved in a lot of things like this before, but there's never been any proof found of it. He's always managed to stay clear of it.
Right.
But I wanted to get a sort of since I don't have anyone who has first-hand knowledge of who these people that were sent in to bother you were, I figured I'd come and get the information directly from the source. If you were willing to let me know, tell me what you know. What they looked like. Yeah, exactly, about them.
All right. Oh, those individuals, and all of them, the ones that were involved in that scuffle, are dead. Correct?
That is what apparently is the case. Yes.
Okay. One thing that I found a little curious, I'll try to answer your questions to the best of our ability, but I believe we did insist that interviews could be taken from people at the inn that we were staying at, where the altercation occurred, because they would have also been witness to the current victims of the crime.
Yes.
As they were rather active there, but let's see what we can recall about them as a group.
Yes, well, main reason I wanted to ask you is you were more up close and personal with them, shall we say? So I figured you might have a better sort of, might have noticed more particular details about them, and not just about their appearance, but
right.
the way they fought, their equipment, and so on and so forth.
Okay, I'm going to try to invoke a streetwise roll to see if I can infer anything about what they might have been connected to organizationally and how they were fighting.
Absolutely.
Son of a bitch.
Man, I don't have to scroll down. 13.
Yeah. Well, it's a roll of a 2, which always frustrating when it's like, okay, this is one of the skills I'm really good at. Oh, wait.
Well, 13.
No, you're not.
Hey, 13 is still pretty good. That'll give you some details, anyways. As I said at the time, they were definitively a part of a. It was very clear they were part of a underworld organization of some sort.
Hmm. I guess the question is that underworld organization would have been one that would have been associated with this individual that Guillaume had effectively wronged, quote unquote, wronged.
Not that you're aware of.
Okay, so I will mention the one thing that is unusual about the individuals that we encountered is that they were not directly associated with was it Stormhammer? Is it what is his name?
Stoneground.
Stoneground. It's like they do not seem to be ones that were directly associated with Stoneground, so they might have been enlisted as, if they were working for Stoneground, they were enlisted as sort of a third-party contractor or otherwise to separate Stoneground from having an association with that initial attack, despite their intention being very clear when they stated to us.
All right, so you also rolled well enough to remember some details about their equipment and such. He sort of says, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe we have some information about which particular gang they're probably associated with. Then, and I'm sure the Watch actually has a good idea of who they are. I just wanted to get it from as much as Captain Ironshield, he does work for the council, and therefore he works. I in part am his boss. There are things that he won't directly share with me during the course of an investigation, which he's currently doing. So I figured it's helpful to get this information directly from you, so I can contact my other sources.
Right.
Right. Okay. Well, he sort of pauses, sort of sits there. He looks sort of like he's mulling, bringing something up with you guys that he's not sure he really should. He's sort of weighing things in his head. It's pretty obvious.
I say something and roll diplomacy to try to
absolutely go for it.
See if I can persuade him. What is his title again? I'm just trying to.
His title would be Elder.
Yeah, Elder. Look, I mean, I'm not sure if you know much of my direct connection with the community here, but my concern is I view this as much an extension of my home as Mr. Blackhammer would as well. In addition, all of us are equally concerned about making sure that there are no undue or unnecessary threats to the well-being of the community. If there's anything you can share that can aid in such an endeavor, it would aid all of us if that information was transparent.
Okay.
Of course, it rolls 6.
I think I unlocked my
Jaw.
No, not my jaw, but that's the wrong button. Where's the thing? There we go.
Okay.
That should work.
Roll 17.
17. That's actually pretty good.
Okay.
He leans back in the chair he's sitting in, sort of steeples his fingers under his chin. Thinks for a moment and says, "Well, I do think Seamus Stoneground is, as I said, he's been jockeying for position for quite some time now, politically. And I think he's got grander ambitions than anyone would think. I think he's. My gut feeling, and from what I'm reading, is that this sort of what he did with you all, framing you for that. Basically, first off, sending those people to bring Yorm in. I don't think it's
He must
just
have known
him.
that wasn't going to work.
That's sort of my read on it, especially since you showed up with a group of quite well armed and competent individuals, which is I would think would be patently obvious to anybody who to anyone who actually thought about it. I think that this is definitely more than just settling his grudge with Yorm here.
Is it? You think that it's a political move of sorts?
I think it's part of one.
All right.
Again, it's not. I think Yorm. I hate to say this. You just were a convenient pawn for him. I think, as it were.
Do you
Doesn't
suspect
surprise
that
me.
perhaps this
Story of
individual
me
is
life.
attempting to slander the good Iron Shield's name by making this case a spectacle of some kind and accusing him of aiding and abetting criminals?
Possibly, or maybe even just distracting the watch from something else.
But a spectacle in any case.
Well, yes, it's definitely a spectacle. It ties up the watch in a big investigation. Especially if it turns out there's that you all were framed, then that brings up questions of who's doing the framing, and even if it's sort of it's known that he has a grudge with you, he's if he's taken proper precautions, the watch is going to be focused on trying to unravel that sort of that angle, and they'll be focused on the grudge between him and Gjorm, and not on anything else that he might be up to. And I hate to say it, but while distasteful and unpleasant, given what the nature of his dispute with Gjorm here is, there'll be a lot of people who'd be on his who'd be understanding of him wanting to deal with Gjorm thoroughly, and that anybody siding with Gjorm would be therefore acceptable losses, I guess. It's a thorny situation, but given that that it's going to be obvious that he's going to be obviously a suspect behind framing Gjorm for trying to frame you all for this. Given the nature of who was killed, and given his connections on the council, dealing with a group, killing off a bunch of having a bunch of, to be honest, thugs killed to settle a grudge, while incredibly distasteful and technically illegal, he's got enough connections that he can probably just shrug that off. And if that allows him to and if it distracts the watch away from things that he might prefer them not to look at, I think it's probably an acceptable knuckle rapping he'll take for, to avoid them looking into something else. That's sort of the read I'm getting.
So what you're saying is he's got something going on and he's trying to keep everyone looking somewhere else while his other end is off doing whatever nasty thing it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah. I'm afraid to say I think this whole situation with you is a giant case of misdirection.
So what would be the actual actions that he would be performing where this entire thing, investigation included, is effectively acting as the cover of?
Well, I know for a fact that he wants a more important seat on the Council of Elders. He's got a minor position, and seats like that really don't. The type of seats he's aiming for, don't open up outside of someone being completely and utterly discredited as have their honor completely and utterly discredited, or death. Basically, I mean, Their family name
So-
would have to be completely blackened, or they'd have to, die for their seat to open
Well,
up. because-
which one of those two would be the easier method in order to vacate a spot higher up in the chain?
Easier? At a gut death, honestly.
Yeah, kill him
That's-
somewhat.
So,
Yes. That's unfortunately what I'm thinking. Unfortunately, do you think that he is devious enough to effectively either mask or mislead something while the actual intended murder is happening, or is this going to be more of a case of, like you said, having the investigation play out in such a way that it discredits the name of whatever family is associated with it?
at a gut feeling, possibly both. I mean, if he can keep the watch looking in the wrong direction while his agents set up, a way to get rid of get people out of the way from his promotion up the chain in the council, then
If this man is half as shrewd as you build him up to be, I imagine he has many plans and many machinations in motion as we speak, and focusing on any one of them would not be beneficial.
that seems likely. So,
So you want us to go find out what he's doing and put a stop to it? Is that the question?
Well, how? The question is how. I mean,
indeed,
once.
Well, we find his boys and we hit him until they tell us what he's doing, then we stop it.
No, that's not going to work. I mean, his boys, I don't know which of his boys actually are in on the plan, because he's willing to work outside of his own men to get some of the job done. So,
Oh, see, here's the
And
problem.
besides-
You got one of these, like, really complicated plans. Like, you see, one thing goes wrong and it all falls apart. So we find one guy what knows what's going on, and we can mess everything up that way.
I
Right,
imagine
or
this
we-
is the man who has planned in such a way that things falling apart plays into his favor.
in a game of chess, when you telegraph what your intentions are going to be, all you ultimately do is give your opponent an ability to work around it. Or, in this case, if you know what their plan is and you reveal that you know what their plan is, they can alter their plan midstream.
Not if you're
So
breaking
the
the board.
But you're not
You
very
do
good with
realize
metaphors,
that what you're
are you?
effectively saying is that you just want to go and kill him to put an end to it. That is not going to suffice.
I got no problem with him if he ain't got no problem with me.
No, but see, here's the
I
point.
think breaking
actually
the
does-
But he's
board.
got a problem with me, so I got a problem with him.
No,
So-
no. Europe. The point is, he actually doesn't have a problem with you. The point is that you're just a convenient tool for him to use to create a bigger scheme. You're not the end goal. You, it points over to the chessboard, are the pawn. That can
I
be
get
easily
that.
sacrificed for the sake of the larger thing. So he doesn't really have a problem with you, except that you're a convenient tool.
I understand that. I'm only there to distract him. He's waving me around while he sets up his sucker punch. I get that. That makes sense. He's yelling, "Look at Gorm," while he punches the other guy in the back of the head.
Actually, that's a fairly apt way of describing it. So, Alice, you were about to say something?
I was going to say, wouldn't breaking the board be more breaking the city?
That's the other thing I was actually thinking about as well, given what the analogy was supposed to be.
Oh, we don't want to do
And
that.
and as much of a spectacle as it would be to perform such a feat, breaking
I don't
This
think
city
I
is
could
not my-
conjure up such a being as to split the mountain in twain.
I'm just
Well-
gonna say that this game gets more Dwarf Fortress as we go along.
Apparently, I'm taking a lot of inspiration from a game I've never played for this character.
well,
I really should
so
play Dwarf Fortress.
so when this is just sort of settling back, it's like, okay, well, here's a question I can have.
If the question
Peter,
is to look at
Yes.
Bjorn, Why don't we hide,
All right.
Bjorn?
The road cannons are in this town mostly merchants, movers of goods, equipment, and such.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible for me to determine if we have any deliveries or items that we are delivering to the stone ground, or in such a way that we can have an in through that, through a connection like that?
It's possible.
Yeah, effectively, it's like, okay, we need to get into somewhere where there's likely that someone might know that something's going on. Well, I would not be able to impose as someone who's part of a delivery crew, per se. Others might be able to, though. He looks at Cathra and Bjorn.
Are you suggesting we get packed up and shipped into the place in a box?
No.
No.
He's
no.
suggesting I go in.
Why
as-
not? That's a good plan.
No, it's not a good plan.
Why not?
I'm gonna have my head in my hands.
It gets everyone where they need to be.
No, the
And you got
plan
me
is
and
not to
Catherine
go in.
watching to make
We're-
sure no one opens the crate till you're ready to come out.
We're
No.
not trying to break in and we're not trying to break in and cause a fight. The point was to infiltrate
the best way
and
to
try
handle
to.
something when someone's getting tricky and they're using you as their tool is to be the tool that smacks them in the face when they try to use it.
This is. We need some subtlety to be able to get to smack him in the face.
Well, okay, when
No,
you're
best
trying
answer
to
to
split
subtlety is brutality.
when you're trying to split a rock in twain in an act of masonry, arbitrarily smacking the rock in efforts of breaking it is less efficient than spending a few moments finding where the vein of the rock is to strike. If someone's able to go in there under the guise of reconnaissance to get an idea of an entry point, who might know what, among other things, then we know where the vein of this operation is, where to strike.
Then we break his hand. Or his foot. Or whatever is necessary for him to do what he needs.
Ironhame is just going to kind of look at the dude who came to talk to us while all of this, bickering is going on.
He's just listening and waiting for you all to settle down.
I have my head in my hands, massaging my temples because I think that Mr. O'Cannon had a good idea, and is now trying to explain it to an obstinate, angry dwarf.
Obstinate, stupid dwarf that doesn't understand the concept of subtlety.
Yes.
Who is vaguely angry as well.
Yeah.
I will, and Vendeas will actually make the point that of the few of us, the least visible
wind tunneling.
of the lot of us, the one that has the least amount of probably visible heat tied to all this would actually be Cathra,
Yeah.
because I'm too obvious looking. Yorm is too obvious in general.
And I've not been seen for 50 years.
Right. So this might be a way we might, if this, again, Elder, if this, I'm not sure if this particular strategy is one that would be prudent or effective, but it's hard to, like you said, it's hard to know what's going on when he's good at masking his actions and intentions.
Alright, I'm gonna use this moment to explain what that history check was.
Okay.
Alright, is there any history of, outsiders getting into this place, group, stone people, whatever? I'm still trying to wake up.
The Stone Ground Estate.
Stone ground, yeah, historically, is there any weird little interesting inns to there that would have come up in my studying of this city?
I mean, what do you mean by outsiders getting in? I mean,
Honestly, in this case, might be thinking of, historically, do these kind of estates end up having, literal back doors built into them?
okay. That's actually an interesting question.
trying the history of architecture, the dwarven architecture.
Okay, that's actually a way to explain it.
Right.
The 29 should get me something.
I would assume, yeah, there probably is a back door of some sort, yeah.
Could likely be guarded, but that could be another way for
Mhm.
me to get in.
Well, and if anything, we can combine plans. Just like Mr. Stoneground likes to use a cover to distract what the actual intentions are, so could we.
Mm-hmm.
A delivery of goods masking someone sneaking in on the back end.
Or using an attempt to get in the back end to make sure the delivery person
Doesn't get
is in-
investigated.
Yes.
Right. That's another way to look at it too.
And if either, like, for example, the rest of you break in while I'm off there looking, while I'm delivering and all, even if I don't find anything, you four can get pretty far.
It's all very
I
interesting
don't
ideas.
think that Aramia and Hana, being humans that look as they do, are going to be able to infiltrate much of anything.
Oh, in the case of this, there is not the backdoor break-in is not an infiltration. It's a brute attack.
Which I am in favor of.
It's basically having Gorm show up at the back door with three mates and blowing it in to mask that I come in the delivery and maybe take some guard out or someone and just kind of mask my way into it.
Another option. Of course, doing such an action puts us in a position where we actually would be committing a potential crime that we'd have to answer for.
Perhaps we could simply try to talk with him.
Well,
With
if you want to do it
Stoneground?
that way.
Well, if we're going to be dealing with someone that we fear is using underhanded tactics, why would we have to use underhanded tactics against him?
I'm in
what
favor
I'm
of this.
saying.
He is a
I'm in
reasonable
favor of
person.
Hana's idea.
He's a reasonable person. Surely he can be debated
I ain't
with.
so reasonable.
Unlike an entity with no name that requires to be banished to whence it came from, there are multiple options for us to exploit. We should not resort to force unless it is the last option.
I don't
I
disagree
agree.
with that. It's just I'm cautious that if we go in and we reveal that what any of our suspicions or intentions in such a way, then all of a sudden tables can be turned against us.
Well, why do we
And
need to?
there may-
Why do we need to reveal everything that we know? Bjorn was attacked in a bar, and we are now accused of killing his men. We simply need to
Right.
approach him with that pretense, and
If you assume
try
that,
to work things out.
We know that Gjorm's attackers in the bar were related to Stoneground, as they made that clear.
And we do not know that they were technically not his men, or we should not know that.
right?
As far as he knows what we know that we were attacked by men who claimed that they worked for him, and they were found murdered later, and we believe that we did not commit the crime. We don't need to tell him anything else that we know about his true intentions, that they weren't really his men, or anything of that nature. We can simply go into the conversation and use other tactics to find out what he is up to, and perhaps convince him to stop. Of course, this still leaves the issue of gaining an audience with him.
Right.
I might be able to arrange that.
Oh.
Well,
Oh, wow.
Not sure what that... What is
Yappy
that?
dog. Yappy dog.
Oh,
That was
you
a
can hear
dog?
that. Yeah, that's my mother's dog, the most pathetic animal I've ever experienced in my life.
That dogs can't make that noise. It's
Oh my god, that is the
No, that
high.
is the noise it makes every single time that the rest of my family is not in the house.
I am amazed that a dog. I have heard puppies, newborns, less than 3 days old, making deeper sounding noises than that.
Sounds like rubber scraping against a tile floor.
yeah, that or some sort of horrible hell beast.
At any
Oh, there we
rate,
go. There we go. It's a hell beast. Okay.
Yeah, I can. That, on the other hand, is a phone.
at any rate, yes, Elder Goldhelm says, I might be able to arrange a meeting if you want to try negotiating with him in some way or talking with him about this. It would probably end up having to be at something of a neutral site. He probably wouldn't want to meet you on his, at his. Well, he might. I don't know. I think ideally he'd want to meet somewhere, either at sort of a neutral site, or possibly he might want to meet somewhere of his own.
In territory of his own affiliation.
Yeah.
We could set up an ambush. It's what I'd do if I were him.
At any rate, I will see if I can. If you are interested in discussing things with him, and seeing if you can sort of iron things out, I can definitely arrange that. I can arrange at least to attempt to get a meeting. We're both on the council. I technically outrank him, so I can approach him about this sort of thing. And honestly, I can suggest to him that a meeting with you all would probably, and to try to settle things out, would at very least be in the best interest of sort of keeping things, tamping down
We
on.
can approach this with the veneer of civility and overcoming personal disagreements.
Well, from the standpoint of the council, it's a case of trying to nip, escalating violence in the bud. There's a grudge of some sort between Gjorm and Seamus Stoneground, and handling it diplomatically would mean that it'd be a way to avoid further violence.
Precisely.
From either side. I mean, you're accused of murdering those guys who attacked him, who attacked you in quote supposedly in his name, and if I approach him with that way, I think he would have very little choice but to accept at least a meeting of some sort with you. Whether anything comes of it or not, that's up to you and him. But I think I can approach him with that from that standpoint without arousing his suspicions towards me, at least.
All right, if you think we should talk, then we can talk.
I'm just testing macros.
That's fine.
quick.
I kind of
And
figured that's what it was.
Yeah, to see where I fucked up, and there it is. Not the Mount Valus all of me.
All right then. So
Very well. I will go attempt to arrange that.
All right.
And I will let the
full attention.
I will let Chief Ironshield know that I'm doing this as well. Anything you can find out, I'd appreciate being alerted of. Obviously, if you can talk him down from whatever he's up to, that'd be great. But I'm mostly expecting that you'll mostly be just getting information about hopefully getting some information, or at least getting sort of an angle, and possibly some way to stop with whatever he's up to.
understand.
Ideally, I would deeply appreciate it if you would have to avoid any violence during this meeting.
These don't start none, there won't be none.
I that's good enough for me.
He's not saying not to defend ourselves, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But, if violence occurs against him during this meeting, there's not much I can do to shield you from the fallout from that, is what I'm saying. If something were to happen between, say, thugs he'd hired after the meeting or something like that, that I can probably spin as, since it almost certainly will be self-defense, I can easily spin that as such. Even if you end up going on the offensive against some of his less savory associates. There are things I can do politically. Direct attacks on him, I really can't do much for you with, especially since not all of you are actually citizens of Ironhame.
Right.
So, I will go and attempt to arrange the meeting. Someone will come back here to let you know what comes of that. Thank you for your time. I do appreciate it. And I wish you luck, assuming that the meeting happens, which I'm fairly certain it will. With that, he gets up and bows to you and heads towards the door.
Goodbye.
Good evening.
And I give him the appropriate respects for someone of his rank.
Right.
I guess his bow.
Sure.
I don't know.
Good day, sir.
With that, he leaves. And you
Now
are
he's
again.
gone.
Yep.
Romeo is going to say, I am in fact not a citizen of this city, and I don't really care to get involved in its politics. I'm willing to go along with this far enough to ensure the security of this group, but I do not wish to remain here any longer than necessary. We have more important things to be pursuing in general, and there is nothing magical to study about politics in this case. It disinterests me.
Yes. Unfortunately, I believe that our main interest in this matter is to expedite our being no longer held to this home, so that we can take whatever actions are necessary further down the line.
That is
Of
why
course,
I'm willing to
of
go
course.
along with this for the time being.
Of course, I believe that it would also do well to set our comrades at ease if their hometown were not under the influence of a corrupt politician.
And it would be good to
Oh.
make sure this politician is not under any deals with Gloom.
I don't seem the type to make that.
That would be a stretch, but not an impossibility.
Well, let's not jump to any conclusions.
Indeed.
I bet he'd do it. Matter of finding the bugger.
That douchebag would totally do it.
Prick ass motherfucker.
All right. Well,
Don't. Ignore me.
I'm just
I'm
saying.
going to
I
get
still think the
cat.
best thing is just to hit things till we find out what's going on. But
Yeah,
you guys want to do it this way, fine.
And trying to keep him from chewing the cable.
All right. Well, at any rate, nothing
I start
else
chewing the table.
really happens during the evening. The rest of the evening passes uneventfully, and it is morning.
Hooray!
A little while, sort of after you've had breakfast and you've had a little bit of time, there's another knock on the door.
I'm not doing it this time.
I'll get the door.
All right.
All right. Well,
No,
Jormy.
she's referring to doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I hurt my hand last time.
All right. So
At any rate,
the Niz will go ahead and. Yep.
so Yorm said he answers the door. Standing at the door, you notice two people there. Actually, there's more than two people outside, but two people are sort of at the door. As you're approaching the door, there's another knock on the door as you're approaching it. And you hear sort of mild sort of, like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here?
I'll open the door. What are you doing here?
Standing at the door, you see Chief Ironshield and the guy who is pretty clearly the head of the bodyguard group that came with Elder Goldhelm.
I will
Both
be
at the
right
door,
back.
looking sort of like perplexed at each other.
Mm.
Well, it's more Goldhelm's security chief looks less perplexed than Chief Ironshield. Chief Ironshield looks utterly and completely confused as to why he's here. Not confused is the wrong word.
Bewildered.
No, it's not that he's it's surprised. It's more that he's surprised that he's here right now. Because he sort of says, good morning, Yorm. Can we come in? I get.
Yeah, come on in. You're letting
okay.
all the stupid out.
It's getting too smart in here.
Okay, so
I
they
object to this notion that you claim that this house is filled with insipidness.
I didn't say nothing about snippiness. You're the snippy one.
Anyway, they walk in. Ironshield sort of says, "Well, I came to let you know that things are progressing quite well. I think we'll be able to shake you free soon. Also, to bring you a message from came here for 3 reasons. One, to let you know that. 2, to bring you a message from Walker Gex, and who is understanding of your situation and is hopeful that you will be extradited with due course and with prompt speed, and to bring you to a meeting apparently that Elder Goldhelm has arranged with Seamus Stroneground. I'm sort of confused by that. I was perplexed by how that's happened so quickly. I'm not sure why he's here. The guy chuckles. I was sent by Elder Goldhelm to bring you to the meeting. I didn't know that the chief here was going to be bringing you also, but it can't hurt to have extra people along. The two of them sort of are looking at each other.
Our schedule is filled then.
Yes. But yes, Brother Walker Gex did want me to tell you all, give you a message that apparently he's been in several meetings with Mother Hestana and the other leaders of the various churches in town. He said you'd know what the meetings were about. He shrugs.
Right.
And that even if you're extradited from this situation soon, he'd appreciate it if you hung around town a little while until he's able to finish up those meetings.
Out of character, this is about our previous investigations about Gloom, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I was brushing my hair, but I heard that and I was just like, ah, damn, must hear things.
Mm-hmm. So,
I was gonna double check that.
all right. Let's see here. All right.
Yes. So the two of them basically say, whenever you're ready to go, we can bring. I guess we can bring you to the meeting. Ironshield turns to the other guy and says, "We're bringing both. The meeting is supposed to be happening at the at the council chambers, correct? The council building, right?" And he nods. Okay, good. We're going to the same place. There's not some weird miscommunication. Oh. Why did he tell me to bring them as well as you? The other guy shrugs. I don't know. He just says, "I'm just
It's all
following
good."
orders." So once you're all ready,
I am suspicious of this.
Did you both receive this wish in person?
they both sort of say, the chief says, I was told about the meeting and such by the elders, one of the elders' messengers. He sent a messenger to me to let me know about his conversation with you yesterday, and that he was setting up a meeting to try to clear things, up between you and Stoneground.
Hmm.
And the security chief says, "Yeah, I received my instructions directly from him."
Curious.
Indeed. Anyways, shall we go?
Aye.
All right. You are all the bodyguard and a couple of watchmen come along with you, and you're escorted off to a large and impressive building, which is Cathra, Vindeus, and Guillaume all recognize as the council building. There are many guards outside. Most of them seem to be, all of them are quite familiar with both the captain and the chief of security. Elder Gold, talking hard, Goldhelm's chief of security, and they just wave you in. They don't even ask any. They don't seem to hold you guys up or anything like that.
For a moment, I thought you were saying that the dwarf's name was Talking Hard.
No.
That is an amazing name. I am Talking Hard.
Right. Anyways, you are escorted in to the building and are taken to what looks like a large sort of meeting hall. It's a meeting room. There's a large table. There are refreshments on the table. There are a bunch of chairs in the room. Chief Ironshield says, "I'll be. This is where the meeting will be happening. I'll be outside. I was not invited to the meeting, so I won't be intruding on it." He grimaces at that. The security chief says, "I'll wait here until the elder arrives, then I'll be outside also."
All right. I plop my ass down on a chair. I wait.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. About 5-10 minutes later, the door on the other side of the room opens, and in walks a very neatly dressed dwarf. He's got sort of grayish. He's got very neatly cut short gray hair, a very nicely trimmed gray beard. He's not wearing anything particularly ostentatious, but everything looks very well cut and tailored. Following behind him are a couple of very efficient-looking bodyguard types. They're not. They look. Honestly, they're very clearly skilled bodyguards. They also have that sort of air of sort of hired killer about them, also.
Gotcha.
They come across as
Less bodyguards, more
Enforcer.
mafia torpedoes.
Yeah, actually, yes. Exactly, Eric. You, of course, recognize the neatly dressed dwarf. That is, in fact, Seamus Stoneground. He walks in, looks over the group of you, glares at Guillaume, shakes his head a little bit, and says, "Please, be seated." And he sits down at the head of the table. And he waits for you all to sit down before saying anything else.
I was already sitting.
Well, okay,
Yeah,
I wasn't sure.
think we all were.
Okay, you're all sitting then. If you were all sitting, he would have said. He sits down and says, "Well, I'm only taking this meeting as a favor to Elder Goldhelm, whom I have the utmost respect for.
Right, right.
So, he wants us to clear the air, as it were, to avoid any further physical disputes in town. To, keep things civil and sedate in Ironhame.
Sounds reasonable.
I admit I was somewhat under the impression, Gjorm, that you were under the instructions never to return here.
Yeah, instructions by people that you had beat my head in. Hardly seems official now, does it? And to be fair, I tried to keep a low profile, so your lads didn't feel the need to come and start nothing. But they did. So I put them down. Well, didn't put them down, but I kicked him out of the bar I was in. Anyone hear that?
I heard it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not hearing Peter.
Okay.
You're not hearing me?
Yeah, we weren't hearing
There
you.
you go.
Okay. Well, he doesn't say much. He just sort of goes,
And now they're coming up dead, and we didn't kill no one. We were real sure not to do that.
Really?
The patrons of the bar, as well as the staff of the bar, congratulated us and rewarded us with drinks for the performance without lethality.
Ah. And you're saying that you had no hand in killing these individuals. Now, I
No.
do wonder exactly why you think these disreputable folk work for me.
They claim to.
Did they now?
Indeed. They invoked your name specifically.
Ah. Well, that explains all the kerfuffle about some gang members being killed. Honestly, I don't see why anyone's particularly worked up about the fact that you, assuming that it was you, offed a bunch of clanless, disreputable scum like them. But I suppose citizens taking the law into their own hands could be considered as something of a problem. It really should be in the hands of the watch. At any rate. So, they claimed they were working for me.
Indeed.
I confess I was not aware that you had returned to town, Bjorn, until I heard that you were arrested for killing these people.
I was only here for some business. I was going to pop right out. No one need to know nothing. Now I'm stuck here because your people decided to go and get themselves dead.
They're not my
All
people.
right.
All right. Well, you are technically
Rot.
you are technically correct, Yorm, that officially you are not barred from returning to Ironhame. I just thought it was fairly clear that. Well, never mind.
I understand that dwarven culture differs rather significantly from human culture, but my understanding is that this occurred a rather lengthy period of time ago. It seems that to move beyond would be reasonable.
The ban is less of an issue. Some important shit was going down, and he had to be here.
He sort of.
Gonna leave.
I can understand. As I said, from a legal standpoint, there's nothing keeping Bjorn from returning to Ironhame, and only the possibility of earning my displeasure. And I admit to grudging respect that he's willing to risk that to return for something he considers important. Very well. Well, as I said, these people who claim they're working for me do not. If I wanted you evicted from town, you would have been. I would not have bothered sending thugs to do it. I would have just instructed the watch to evict you. Now, it might not have... He raised it. He says, admittedly, that might not have worked, but that would have been what I would have done.
Insight.
He seems fairly convincing, actually.
Okay. I'm trying to think. The people, the thugs that came after Yorm initially, they actually specifically referred to why he was not supposed to be in town, correct?
Yes, they did.
Okay. All right. Vindace is going to ask, I'm sorry for not being as privy to this as I should for someone who's related to family in town here, sir, but how well known was it that Mr. Blackhammer was ousted, and for the reasons why he was asked to never return unofficially? Was that very commonly known?
Amongst the citizenry? No. Amongst the nobility? Yes.
Then it's curious that the people that came claiming to be working for you happened to know why Mr. Blackhammer was being asked to come to you. So are you insinuating that they are working for a rival noble that is trying to frame you for some sort of tactic?
Well, I wasn't insinuating anything because I don't know what's going on. But that is definitively a possibility. It also could be that someone who works for me was being proactive and trying to earn brownie points with me, earn favor with me. Yes, by doing so on their own initiative. I would have much preferred things. Well, this is a situation. I won't pretend that water is under the bridge between you and I, Yorm. But your associates are your human associate here is correct. It was quite some time ago, and while it is a stain, while the situation did cause something of a stain on my family's honor, it is not something it's not as big a deal as I thought at the time. It has become less of one over the years, at least. This is interesting. I won't claim that I am trying to think of a good phrase for this that would make sense to all of you. I'm not the most favored amongst the council, amongst those who favor law and order, shall we say? More specifically, I admit that I do have some knowledge of the more unsavory sorts in town. Mostly due to very old family connections here and there. But none at the level of the people you dealt with. If I was going to use unofficial people to deal with people in your position, I wouldn't have contacted dregs like them.
You would have used different associates who possibly would have been more subtle about their tactics. Or-
Yes, actually.
Romeo just kind of looks at the dudes who came in with him. You don't say.
Yes, I would also. It would have been a bit more subtle. Yeah, I would have. A fight would not have broken out in the bar.
It seems that you are a man who favors strategy.
Yes, actually. Well,
This is
I
most
can
likely-
respect that.
yeah. You were saying, Nick.
This seems to be something along the lines of. Do you happen to have any political rivals that would have a need to make immediate gains over you in the future?
Oh, a better question would be a question. Yes, I would. Most of the council. I
Is
do
there
know
some-
for a fact that the council member who is sitting on who runs the treasury is very likely to retire due to ill health very soon. He's very old and his health is failing, and due to my family connections and my particular skill set, I'm the most suited for the position after he retires or when he passes away.
So the
And-
need to make gains over you would be very urgent.
Yes.
Right.
If my name could be sufficiently discredited, one of several different people would be in excellent position to take the seat of the treasury seat instead of me.
So there could be possible that such actions were done not for your benefit, but actually for your detriment by trying to implicate you in some activities that were untoward, to say the least.
And it doesn't matter if the. So long as there is something going on, then of course that would sway people's judgment. Even if you were to be eventually cleared of charges,
The damage would be done.
Yes, if something unfortunate were to happen to. Hold on, let me look at the name here. Oh yeah, there we go. To Elder Ironforge. If something were unfortunate to happen to him right now, I suspect, given how my name's been attached to the whole situation going on with Gjorm, I very well might. There's a distinct chance that my name would be discredited enough that someone else could take the seat.
Right, because at least their name would not have any current controversies or suspicions tied to it.
Yes.
well, if that's the case, is there someone who is considered the second favorite for the position? Or would that be too up in the air?
I would say that right now it's probably too up in the air. I honestly, any of the other junior members of the council would be, I guess, equally suited for the position.
Well, how many of them are there?
3.
Oh, well, that's not too bad.
No, well, yes, it drops down to a 1 in 3 chance. And
I was like thinking it's like 200. Oh well.
No.
no, the dwarven
When is
the council of elders is not that large.
Council of Elders just meets on a fleet of yachts that float in the lava.
They sit around one big table. All right, first order of business today. What?
It is not. It is not like the Republic Senate in the Star Wars prequels. No, quite possibly the most useless political body I've ever seen.
And the one that's got ET aliens hidden in there for a cameo. Look, guys, our fingers glow. Fuck you guys again.
All right.
Well-
so I guess. Changes things quite a bit, but
Well, I don't know how
Hey,
much.
Wisdom Havers, can we have an insight check on if he's being on the level with this?
Well, I already did.
Han already
insight
did.
check on him.
You did for the statements regarding Bjorn, not regarding
There.
this. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll put it this way, Nick. Either he is the most convincing liar you have ever met, or he's telling the truth.
And he's not the most convincing
Right.
liar I've ever met, because I have met an ethereal entity that was built on darkness and evil bad things.
Okay, let me amend that. He's either the most convincing mortal liar you've met.
all right. Now, out of curiosity, would I know Hannah enough to kind of be able to see if she had any sort of nonverbal cues about the trustworthiness of someone? Kind of infer from her that yes, this person actually seems to be on the up and up about, especially this particular potential for a added layer to the conspiracy.
What's your passive insight,
So-
Skitch?
My passive insight is not particularly impressive, unfortunately. Let me double check what it says on the character sheet. It's 13.
13. You'd have to make an insight roll then.
Yeah, let's see if I. No. All right. All right. That is irrelevant to the next question Vineas was going to ask anyway. So, of the other junior members, who was around at about the time when the events occurred that led to the incident between you and Yorm, and would have known about it well enough to have used it as effectively a tool against you?
Depressingly, all of them.
So,
Right.
and it's hard to say which one would, for example, would be the most hungry, if you was like in quotes, for the position, since all of you would equally desire an ability to move up in position in the council. Am I correct?
They'd be pretty much equal in that. And they all three of them detest me equally as well.
Do we know the organization the thugs were tied to?
Yeah, they're a member of one of the sort of the dregs gangs. Yeah.
Right.
Well, we could see
Figure out if the. Yes.
Yeah, we could use that route of investigation. See who they're tied to.
Another. Well, here's an interesting question.
Actually,
someone
that
were
probably
to-
won't work. That probably won't work because they were all killed. So
Actually, let me think here. The person who would have acted upon this had to have known that Guillaume was in town before you did, because you stated that the first time you heard of him being in town was after the accusation of the murder.
Yes.
So he had to know that.
So you're suggesting
Who would-
someone in connection with the Front Watch?
Possibly with the Front Watch, or anyone else who would have recognized Guillaume by sight, working in the Front Watch or otherwise. Because if they were working, not necessarily as an agent, but working in conjunction with this rival noble, then they could have had a plan to put into action starting the minute that Guillaume happened to come into town. So, that, of course, since the main thing here is this person had to know both about the situation and know when Yorm just happened to be in town. We weren't doing much to be very visible in town outside of going through the guards and then heading pretty much straight to the inn, correct?
I don't
At least for
believe.
you, Guillaume.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. We were being pretty careful about not being too obvious about things.
Especially since you warned us in advance on the way in about your
Yeah.
history with the town. So, this would be interesting. Who could have tipped off this noble or been working with them? One of the one of the front guards
gate
could
guards. Yeah.
one of the gate guards could be a possibility indeed.
Ramia has an idea, but knows it's going to be a very unpopular one, and so she does not want to say it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Stab
not referring
everyone.
to I'm not referring to Gloom either.
You're not talking about Walker Gex, are you?
Out of character, yeah, that is a possibility.
Wait a minute. Who's Walker Guest supposed to be meeting while in town?
The
That's
various
a good
members
question.
of the various members of the various churches.
The churches. All right.
Yep, that is what he said. He's here to meet up with them.
Right.
So the question that Arami is going to ask is, do any of the other petitioned rivals for the seat have any connections with the religious sect?
With the churches, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, because that is another option. If a casual mention of his name in a conversation could have led to something.
Right.
Well,
So we'll get.
Yeah, screwing with walkers is a big deal. If there's anything we've learned outside of nameless are bad, it's that. So I'm not going to be throwing around an accusation without some serious freaking proof.
Right.
fair point. Fair point.
If there is one thing I'm very conscious of, it is making a, I don't know the proper term of it, but a knowledge
Spurious
fallacy.
accusations.
More
right.
of a knowledge fallacy.
Yeah.
You know, how do you know that? We weren't talking about that.
Right. Exactly. Because again, the only lead we have is that the noble that would have called for this hit would have to have known that Yarn was here when we weren't telegraphing that he was here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking Gex, because, well, Gex knew for a long time just in what direction we were going. He might have a ritual of communication or something.
He also didn't know that Yarn was unwelcome in town, probably.
There's also that. You know, it could be Gex deliberately or indeliberately.
Well, deliberately, I'm less suspicious of because, again, if he was unaware of him being unwanted in town or ousted, then, you know.
Listen, you already knew.
Well, it could be that, you know, like, this is me going off into, like, some Ace Attorney conspiracy level bullshit here. I'm fully aware of that. Because I've been playing Ace Investigations 2 because the translation patch came out this week. But it could be that he has a communication ritual and he makes contact with given people here, and upon, you know, being on his way in, he said, I have met up with these travelers, these are their names, and this is what they do. Is there anything I should know about them? And then at that point it's, oh hey, this one we know about, and we have, and so thank you for that information.
Right. That's why I think is more likely the case if that was what happened. It was more like an unintentional slip of the tongue, per se.
Right.
So, geez, well, that doesn't narrow down anything. Okay.
I have just complicated this matter.
I will say this.
I
will tell.
No.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
To answer Aramia's actual question,
Yes. Because we get derailed.
it is not uncommon for, you know, younger members of a noble's family who are not in position to inherit positions of power to, you know, look for, you know, to take other positions, like in the clergy and various, if when the houses favored, the way
That's what my
actually
cleric did.
right.
Hey, I'm back. Apparently, I lost internet really briefly there.
Oh well, welcome
Welcome
back,
back.
Eric.
Could
I
you
guess my-
boot me from the server so I can get back on the server?
Yeah, I'll do that. Hang on. Booted now.
Dust boot.
Derp.
And Eric is connected. Yay!
Yay! All right, I'm back.
Hooray! But yeah, so that's not uncommon.
Yeah.
So while
Yeah, church connection wouldn't be uncommon, but is there anyone with a particular church connection?
not that
Like,
he's
really
not that
church?
not okay. Stonegrass says, "Well, I'm not aware of any in particular. I don't know their I don't know all their family connections that well."
Right, but do you know can you tell us the basics about these other candidates as they would be, thought of, in terms of, say, who they basically are, what their basic family connections are or affiliations, anything of note that would narrow down who this person actually is, if any of them.
Well,
Yeah, modest diplomacy. At least have a plus 11 in diplomacy. He says plus 11.
he sort of sort of sits back and thinks, well, hold on a second, I need to jot a couple things down here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of them, God, I need to actually have names here. Give me a second. I hadn't actually fully named everyone involved here, so give me one moment. I need to.
I apologize for that. It's just,
That's no. It's perfectly okay.
like now see, like, this is when Videus pulls out like some paper and a writing utensil and starts drawing like the networks of connections. And this is
Suddenly we're just like on a CSI backdrop and like everyone's in uniform.
Videus will program a GUI in BASIC,
In Visual Basic.
so we can track their IP.
No. A GUI interface in Visual Basic.
That's right. We can track their IP.
All right.
I fucking hate that line so much.
It's it's almost as basic as the tandem counter hacking on the same keyboard. But do you have names, Peter? I can't get.
1 second. I'm just making sure that I'm writing them down before I actually tell you them, so I don't forget to write them down.
It's one of them named
Yeah.
Tandem Keyboard.
No.
No. It's just like it makes as much sense as like Videus trying to trace a shot, so someone else steps behind him, and so 4 hands are on the bow to help line up the shot.
All right. So the other 3 junior
Do you
elders.
know what love feels like? Yes. You're gonna.
The other three.
No, that's
The other 3.
are Agam Steel Spike.
what? No, jeez.
Agam
Sorry
Steel
about
Spike.
Steel
Vorn,
Spike.
yep. Vorn Bronze Shadow.
Okay.
And Namir Goblin Hewer.
Goblin Hewer. That's a nice name there.
Yeah.
Hewer? Like
Hewer,
That
yes.
was weird.
As
Like
in,
I
yeah,
think
Hugh
things like Goblin?
no, Hugh, as in like someone who cuts them in half.
Yeah.
I assume.
Oh, that kind of hue. I was thinking.
It's actually an
Photoshop.
unusual misconception. Everyone assumes it means cut them in half or to chop. Goblin hero means that he colors goblins, like he paints.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, I
gonna
know.
say he paints goblins.
No.
Goblin painter.
It's the former. It's an old family name from
All right.
back in the days of when the goblins and dwarves were basically constantly at war.
All right.
Ron
So
Shadow's a weird name. I don't know if I'm saying that in or out of character,
well,
but
not
I'm
sure if-
saying that.
Bronze Shadow sounds trustworthy.
So, in terms of major connections, Steel Spike, his family is an old merchant family. So he, in theory, would have, I mean, all three of them have, mercantile backgrounds. Like, to be fair, virtually everyone in the House of Elders has some sort of mercantile background in some way, shape, or form.
Because dwarf.
Because dwarf, exactly.
Now, I'll wait till after you're done describing before I ask if Vindace knows of any of those family names by just recognition.
The Steel
offhand,
Spikes you'd
but-
probably be the most familiar with of the bunch. Vorn Bronze Shadow, his biggest known connection is that his family is very, his biggest connection probably is that he was sponsored to his sponsor for for being on the council was Nori Goldhelm, actually. His family
He's
is
a favored candidate.
his family was not his family is not one of the older really important families out there. They were sort
Right,
of
they lack the affluence.
they're sort of nouveau riche in many ways.
Gotcha.
And so as let's see, as Stonegram puts it, Vorn's Vorn being added to the council and being sponsored by Goldhelm. It's one of the few times Goldhelm has actually gone out of his way to influence influence positions on the council ever. It was a little unusual. At a guess, he felt that I'm guessing it was an honor debt of some sort to the Bronze Shadow family. I don't know. I don't know why. He never said. As much as I loathe Vorn Bronze Shadow, he's been an effective member of the council, so Goldhelm made.
He may be onto something.
He didn't make a bad choice as far as effectiveness in the position he's in on the council. I don't think Vorn is qualified for the position of treasurer, but I don't think any of the other three are. Any of those three are particularly qualified for it, and definitively not anywhere near as qualified as I am. He shrugs.
Right. Right.
Namir Goblin Hewer
And Goblin Hewer.
The Goblin Hewers are an old military family. His great grandfather was one of the most respected generals during one of the big wars with one of the Goblin tribes that we had problems with here in Ironhame for a long time.
The 725th Defense of Ironhame against Goblin City 2.
So
Goblin City to the. Yeah.
Goblin City
okay.
2, filled with it has their Goblin Judge Dredd in it.
The days is just sort of like writing down the names, drawing little connections, writing little notes, indenting them, and trying to sort of like almost like mind cloud sort of free association, trying to draw connections between them and possible ways they could have found information about us being in the city. So I'm just going to roll the intelligence check as I'm trying to just do this as I'm thinking out, okay, which one of these would have been likely to have found out about us? I'm going to try to remember what Goldhelm's association with the rest of the city is outside of being, I'm guessing, a higher member of the council.
He's one of the longest standing members of the council.
Right.
He's generally his best known association is with the specifically with the council's watch, not the city watch in general.
Right.
He's got ties, sort of, since he's been on the council so long, he's got fingers in a lot of different pies. He's
Right.
But he's incredibly
like
well respected and doesn't really play politics in general.
Right.
He's he's
Right.
best known for his biggest thing is for keeping things in Ironhame calm, stable, and profitable for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of his that's his sort of reputation.
Right.
But yeah,
The military family would be the most likely to know about it, to have the connections with like guards and such.
it's possible.
Yeah. Right. So, Goblin military connection.
Yeah, the
I'm
Bronze
with you, it does
Shadows.
seem-
The Bronze Shadow family they're sort of nouveau riche. They are
Right.
primarily they are sort of they were known originally as sort of crafters mostly.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like they're known for making stuff, not
Right,
not,
artisans.
not like artisans. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm normally good at I'm normally good with vocabulary on that sort of thing. I just blanked on that. Damn.
Stupid words.
Words difficult.
Right.
Are.
Well, again, we're just sort of pondering out possible ways in which someone would have heard, because right now all we have to go on is effectively that someone revealed that they knew more than they probably should have when we were initially attacked.
Well,
So, Chaos, just trying to remember back, did the guards recognize Yorm immediately when they saw him? Or recognize something about him? I remember if that was... I thought we had a weird incident.
I don't remember.
Eric?
I think I remember the front
I
guard
think someone did
recognizing
recognize him. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
I think it was like it was recognizing him, and then like Vendeus vouched for him, and so it was like, okay, does
Right.
anyone know this guy to verify what he's saying? And then there was like the one dude in the back.
It was something
Yeah,
along those
exactly.
lines.
So, right. Okay. Well, I think that honestly the best angle we have is what others have suggested, the front watch at the gate possibly having a connection or at least slipping information upward that would have gotten caught by someone here. Makes me wonder who that guard was that noticed Yorm at first.
Well,
That implies a military connection too.
It does imply military connection. Also, this is actually actually, wait a minute. That makes it way more obvious. Why would just some random guard at the front know about the situation if only the noble families primarily knew much about it?
Rumors?
well,
Rumors?
Could have been
Unless
an old associate of Gorm.
there's. I will say an important note about. You have to remember, Gorm was fairly violently kicked out of Ironhame. So
Yeah.
the
Okay.
the members of the Watch who would know
Guards-
about it would be the people on the members of the Watch on the outside,
Okay.
the outside ones. If now,
I
I'm
would-
not saying
I
that
would-
your point is wrong, Sketch. I'm just saying that I'm just saying that
there
there's
is,
one
there is
possible
an
out.
explanation.
Of
Or
all
there is
the
another.
of all the people outside of the nobility, it would be the guards at the door who would have been told to make sure
Right.
this dwarf doesn't return.
Well,
Right.
again, the point is, I was under the operation that there wasn't a simpler explanation at the moment, but there is one. So there is another explanation that might be more likely, even though there may be a line of logic that works there. So,
Well, it still does imply that word would likely have gotten back from someone just noticing Yorm at the front gate because of just kind of keeping a low profile from that point onward. So it might not have necessarily been the person who confronted Yorm about it, but it could have been anyone noticing from that crowd, which, I mean, being the front gate of a major city would be sizable anyway.
Right. Well, it looks like at least we have the best thing we have in terms of a possible lead or figuring out who might have called the initial hit, because signs are still pointing that the initial hit is part of this larger scheme to deal with the politics in some manner.
Out of character, I would also put forth the idea that if my Gex communicating stuff by intention or otherwise holding water, it could be that someone in the military branch or elsewise could have given the order to wave Gjorm through even though they shouldn't have, because they were planning to do something like this.
Well, I say that we pick one of these three guys and we go after them. I mean, politely go after them.
Right.
No.
For the record,
Diplomatically.
for the record, Aramia is going to basically disclose this line of thought that has occurred to her after we leave this area and we're not under scrutiny of nobles and other militants. She'll tell the group when we get back to the inn.
Well, I will say this. As for the results of this meeting, I admit I'm now reluctantly indebted to you all, to a degree, for making clear the situation. And I seem to have more of a problem in my backyard than I thought I did.
I would say that simply being forthcoming about not knowing about our presence here until after the accusation of crime was a bigger clue than it might have seemed to have been at first about how deep this might be getting in turn.
Yeah. Ugh. The Maker's beard is the problem. Well,
So does this mean you're not going to be starting any shit with me now?
no, you're.
Well, right now,
I detest you, and
being,
I thoroughly detest you, Yorm. But you have nothing to fear for. Honestly, you've already paid for your indiscretions, as far as I'm concerned. To be totally honest.
Yeah, and then you smashed me face in. But we're going to forget that.
Whatever. And bringing this to my attention, as you have, puts me into your debt. As much as it galls me to say that.
at this point, there may be, in fact, a conspiracy to undermine your claim.
Yes.
And at worst, it seemed like it could have gone quite a ways without you even realizing it.
Yes, that is why, as I said, I'm in your debt. He's glaring unhappily across the table at all of you at this point.
Anna smiles, pleasantly, friendly.
Arami
Well,
is offended because smile
condescendingly.
isn't in her dictionary.
Well, I'm fairly certain that. What the hell is that noise? Sorry, there's a banging noise coming from above me in my apartment, and I don't know what it is.
They're building
It's
a rocket
the,
ship.
yes, it's the rocket ship.
Yeah. Well,
Or
So-
training
so-
elephants to build
The
rocket ships.
dwarves are fighting. Leave it be.
So our
but yes,
all right,
I owe
well-
you. I owe you a debt, and I always pay my debts.
indeed.
Okay, Lannister.
Well, he is a dwarf. Yeah, I know.
Damn it!
I
That
don't
trope
get it.
existed before the fucking Game of Thrones books. Grumble, grumble, grumble.
What amuses me most is I'm imagining Wynn's just like, what the fuck? I don't get any of it.
At any rate,
So
I heard someone say
Yes.
something about Game of Thrones, and suddenly it's all clear to me. So,
Mhm.
like,
Okay.
I don't need the details. I get it.
at any rate,
well, yeah.
I will see if I can find some way to repay it. I will. May have to see if I can arrange some sort of protection for Elder Ironforge. He'll hate that.
Right. Well,
Cantankerous
Because,
old
right.
coot.
right. Because why tamper in the reputation of someone and not strike when the forge is hot?
Exactly. Well, I can assure you, you will have no further problems from me unless you actually, cause me problems.
Right.
Again,
I was gonna make a joke about shoving a hammer in him sideways, but I don't know how sideways would be for pushing a hammer into someone.
best not to think about it.
That's it. Pushing a hammer into someone in the first place is already problematic enough. But, yes, on to other pleasant thoughts.
Not really. You go in through the belly button.
Anyway,
Nice. Unless there's anything else, I should probably get back to things.
Quite. Yes.
And with that, he stands
Indeed.
up. I bid you all a good day. And with that, he leaves the room.
Good day, sir.
30 seconds after he leaves the room. Damn it! Should have told him to say hi to the missus for me.
That's probably for the best.
Do you like getting thrown out of places?
I just don't like him.
Yeah, but be
To be
that as
fair,
it may.
he was more reasonable than I thought he'd be, so...
Quite. Well, again, there was a paradigm shift in given information that we were given. We went from someone being the conspirator to be in fact the victim of a conspiracy himself.
So, we're all sure that we believe everything he said, right?
Hana, were you able to pick up on anything?
he seemed
That
to
seemed odd.
he seemed to have been just as duped as we all were.
He's either.
Right.
I think the only
And
way
and
that
it does make sense because, well, doesn't really.
Did I just lose
It would be
internet
going.
again?
It would be going greatly out of his own way in order to simply bring attention on himself in the end of all things.
Right. If anything, like his, having his name being mentioned on the initial altercation only ultimately has this come back to him either for scrutiny or for an actual revelation of a conspiracy, it is just as likely, in fact, more so in some ways, that this is an attempt to tarnish his name to make someone else appear more appealing for such a move upward.
Yes, that. What you said.
Yes. Yeah. Here's another way to see about it, Yarn. All right. If you wanted to make someone else's name look bad,
Hana
You
starts
would-
shaking
No,
her head.
I get what you're saying. I just want to
Okay,
make sure
okay.
you lot, like, everyone was sure, because,
Yeah.
slippery bastard. But if you lot,
Yes.
I'll take your word for it.
if he's as slippery as we've been heard, and whoever's trying to undermine him is trying to be even slipperier. That's a real word.
More slippery.
I was thinking the same thing.
What is it?
You said slippier, so I just went to
No.
Slippy Toad.
My brain went immediately to Star Fox also.
Somehow I missed him saying Slippy, so I didn't make the association.
You're just like, what the fuck's his dick on all of a sudden?
Oh, God.
It's like,
Wow,
I know you're doing
this is-
something over there, but I have missed the setup.
All right.
Okay. So we have to investigate these three guys. And we have to
Right.
figure out something. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it was easy enough to get a meeting with the one guy, but it's going to be weird if we just get random meetings with people who technically we have no excuse to have meetings with.
Right.
You see, you're all gonna have better ideas than I have, because my idea is to break into their conference room and carve "I know you know."
I know that you know.
And then see which one freaks out the most, and then we look at that one.
Yeah, the problem with that is that would
They're
cause
all gonna
base.
freak out because they've all got something under the table.
Yeah, they're all dirty politicians.
Yeah. I know what you know. Oh, God, why?
Now, we could...
Who told you?
Maybe we should just do that in the first place and secure the chair for a groundstone. Well, these three are
secure the chair for
clearly
me.
insane.
And I was gonna do it with that dagger too. So the
Actually-
whole rotten-
Don't do that!
Oh, wow.
Bad Idea Express just keeps on rolling here.
I was on board up until that part.
It was just slowly like rotten to the wood. Stone.
But then it's
Well,
just
we're
gonna
gonna bust some more
then
prisons
they're
of
going to
ancient
hire. Well, then at that point they're going to hire a wizard to look at their desk and go, "What is the meaning of this? Why won't it come out?"
No,
And
even
it's like
better.
it's like the Eldritch
Even better.
Horrors of Beyond know what you did and are coming for you.
No, even better. They hire us to investigate us. wait. Wait. We know
I
someone
did
who's
not exclude myself.
wait a minute. Wait a minute, Gex. Do you know anyone who knows about this stuff? Well, actually, gang, looks like we got ourselves in a sticky situation here.
I've been hired to investigate ourselves.
Let's split up, gang.
Let's split up, gang. Let's search for clues.
Zoinks.
I'll take
Oh,
Velma and Daphne into the bedrooms to look.
Yeah.
Scabby and Shaggy, you guys can go hang out in the spooky
Kitchen.
basement.
The spooky
We
kitchen.
don't want-
Did you call
We
the
don't-
dog Scabby?
Gabby.
Gabby.
Gabby,
I'm
dude.
pretty sure that's what you said.
I meant to say Scooby,
but-
but maybe I was referencing. We'll say I was referencing that one episode of the Venture Brothers.
But y'all
All right. Well,
Mine does too.
do you have more? Do we have more planned for going forward, Peter? Or
I
was this the plan?
I've got. There are things that could happen depending on what you guys do. I mean, if you guys,
Okay.
or if people need to wrap up soonish, that's fine
No.
too.
It was
I
I
would-
was
I'm
curious.
fine for today.
I will say this: A good chunk of this session was basically me planning on reacting to what you guys do. I have an overall arc of what's happening, but I can't plan.
Right.
I don't have anything specific planned because I
Right.
have no idea how you're going to. I wasn't certain how you're going to react to some of this.
I will say
So I
my
have to play
mind
off
has
it.
been like, I don't know where it's been, but it's not been in D&D.
Okay.
And
Well,
like,
I do have something that I'm going to be doing.
Okay.
okay.
Assuming that after the meeting it's getting on towards evening or whatever, and we've all gone back to the inn, had our discussion, I've made my point about
All right,
Gibbs
so-
potentially
okay,
being a link.
The meeting ends. You guys leave. You guys are leaving. So you are escorted back to the safe house because you haven't been freed yet.
Yeah, we can't go to the inn per se. Yeah.
But you're escorted back there. Did you want to report to the head of security guy about what you guys found out, or do you want to have him like talk to his boss to have him come and talk to you guys about it? How do you want to handle that? I mean, do you want to inform anybody of anything before you guys?
Honestly, I'm kind of suspicious of the dude who came over and was like all talking out about Groundstone.
Why are you here?
Stone ground, yeah.
Yeah, Stone Ground. I'm kind of suspicious of him since he came in and is like, oh yeah, there's like scandal all about this guy and this shit's probably related to that. And then we go and then we talk to him and that doesn't seem likely at all. So now I'm wondering, okay, why'd you get us all riled up and angry at him more than we were?
Good point. Good point. Word. Good point.
I am going to
and he vouched for another guy who is one of the three. Okay, good. Yes, that is.
Good point.
This is logical path to go on. Yay.
I've been playing Ace Investigation!
Also, if you watch the video, his head jerks back
To the left.
No. You know what you say? You may say he's been a jerk from the back to the left side of the room, back and to the left. He's just been a jerk all the way there.
Oh.
So the only thing we're going to report to this dude's guard is that we have settled personal matters.
Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I wanted to know if you
I'm
wanted.
going to ask Hannah, as being the most apparently perceptive of the party, to check the room for traps.
I can't look for traps.
What?
That's not how that
against
works.
their religion.
No, perception is the check for looking for things.
You need to be trained or a rogue or something to check for traps. There is like
Right.
a specific thing you need for your perception to work that way.
Right. Like, you need
And
to
Skitch
know
just got
about
rid of it.
traps. What?
And Skitch just got rid of it like this session.
Yeah, I literally got rid of it this session.
Doesn't Cathra have training in thievery?
I have training in thievery, but thievery is for disabling traps, not finding the traps.
Well,
Yeah, I will say this. I've always house ruled that you can use perception or theory to spot traps. So, because my general rule of thumb is, and the general rule of thumb of 4th Ed is that things like traps and that sort of thing, the general sort of assumption, most of the sort of in the DMG and such, is that you ideally want to have multiple skills applied to it, just in case the party doesn't have the appropriate skill. That's why there are a lot of traps that
There's
can be disarmed.
my check to look for traps.
Okay.
And I will check for any kind of like magical wards or listening spells.
Fine, go for it. Give me an arcane.
Yeah.
Go for
it's
it.
Yeah,
like, of course, literally the session I get rid of it.
I know.
And I'll use Intimidate to scare
And-
these traps
and-
into revealing themselves.
And I will do a religion check to talk about the time in
And
A story that
over
applies to
the
this
head.
situation.
It's like I literally got rid of that feat for a combat one that we aren't even using. So
We might use it later. We'll probably use it later.
I'm aware of that. I've held on to this thing for the entire level, and now it's like, oh, is it pertinent now? Damn it!
Of course. Skitch, that's always how it works. As soon as you get rid of
But
something, that's when you
no,
really...
it's the most infuriating thing for me as a player standpoint, because it's like
Well-
there's no solution to it.
I'm sorry, I
So-
didn't intend for that to
At least-
happen.
I know
Well-
you can't intend for it to happen, but it's
Hey, okay. Here's what those checks are. I'm gonna prescribe those two stupid checks into something useful.
well,
That is Gorm and Hannah babbling about in case someone is listening while we do the while the rest of us check for what we were checking for.
Okay.
And they're just talking
That
and
works.
they are arguing loudly about religion.
All right. And the answer to the if you find any traps or scrying spells or anything like that, the answer to that is no.
Okay.
Yay!
right.
Cut it, you two. Cut it, you two.
Right.
The Hearthmaker is a saint and not about fucking other people's wives.
What? Okay.
Sure.
Anyway.
Yormer's arguing loudly. Hana doesn't argue loudly, though.
So,
She punches quietly. So, I guess I was still trying to figure out who we wanted to talk to and if we wanted to play a hand at this time or hold our cards
up to you guys.
effectively.
What? Yep.
I mean, because there's different ways we can go about this. We can talk to the person that tried to. We can talk to the person that Ramia wants to talk to, or we can delay talking to him until a later time when we get some information we can use against him.
You don't want to talk to who I want to talk to.
Well, the person you were talking about earlier, person that we are now suspicious of.
Oh.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
no, I wasn't going to talk to him.
Yes. So,
Okay.
yeah. So the current suspicion, as I'm reading it from you guys, is that you're thinking it might be Vorn Bronze-Shadow, and
Yes.
that Nori Goldhelm is also involved in this because he pointed you guys
Yeah.
directly at Seamus Stoneground.
Right.
That is
and
the
thing about
current
it is that
suspicion.
Okay.
Right, and the thing about it is that Goldhelm is favoring Bronze Shadow in such a way that he would want to do things to get Bronze Shadow in good ties. And, to be honest, Goldhelm would have the widest range of connections by which to exact anything.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The biggest problem I have here is that I don't necessarily think that Goldhelm has anything sinister planned or anything, and that he just found some dude who's really good at politics and is like, "You could be my apprentice."
Well, I mean, if we get it wrong, we'll go with the other two. It's
yeah. It's
No,
like-
no,
yeah,
I'm
it's-
saying we're right. I'm just saying that it's not something bad.
it's not something nefarious.
Right.
Yeah, we're right. It's just he's just like, this guy's really good at politics and could take my place when I die in 10 years. Let's do this.
Right.
Or he might be Emperor Palpatine.
Let's hope it's not that.
Start shooting lightning at us.
Unlimited power.
Does that
Your
mean
shield.
Does that mean Bronze Shadow is gonna start killing kids?
That seems unlikely.
Well, okay then. Let's get a move on, guys.
There's going to be a lot of murdering in this city.
All right. So my question then is, what what do you guys? How do you guys want to approach the situation that you're looking at now?
We dig a hole. and
That's
bury
why.
it.
That's why I was trying to ask everyone. It's like, do we want to go straight to like talking to Goldhelm about this in some capacity, or
Well, I think that if we went back to Broncho, then we might, if our suspicions are correct, we'd just be like tipping him off to the matter. So
right?
Mhm.
That's part of the problem. That's why I'm like, okay. That's why I said, do we reveal our hand a little bit and try to make that, or do we look around a little bit and hold our hand for the moment? Because I know at the very least that the guy we talked to, Goldhelm, earlier on, is going to probably try to follow up with us about this.
right. So
At
we
some
should, I
point,
guess,
so
get our
we'll-
story. We should, I guess, get our story straight for what we want to reveal to him right now.
We should
Indeed.
then break into Goldhelm's room and carve "We Know You Know."
No, Cathra. For the fourth time.
How about we just break into his room and shake him and yell, "We know you know, now tell us that what you know
No,
is what we know
Bjorn, for
that
the
you know."
20th time.
That's even worse than the other plan.
No, it's not, but.
It's just been suggested more often.
All right.
I'm gonna look at Goro and go, "Why doesn't like our ideas?
I don't know. I think they're good ideas.
I think our companions are racist."
What?
I think they just don't understand good, proper dwarven thinking. Except for Findeas, who's been corrupted by hanging out with tall folk.
If it leans in, it's like, I believe you have that the wrong way around, since people I hang around with predominantly are dwarves. Anyway, I believe some degree of caution is the best way to handle things at the moment.
And Rami is just thinking to herself, aren't all Southerners this insane?
Southerners.
She's from the north.
She's in the far north.
Okay. I
Everyone is
think that,
Everyone's a Southerner when you're from, like, northern Canada.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I just
Everyone's a southerner when you're from the North Pole.
Yep.
Literally every direction is south.
Yeah,
Anywho.
the next door neighbor was Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
They prefer to go by Klaus.
Well, yes. You have to keep the accent in mind.
Damn you, Klaus! Again, your elves are making a mess in my yard. You need to potty train those guys.
Strange breed of elf. Shorter than
At
all the
any
rest
rate.
I've encountered.
anyway,
Back on
yes.
track.
We have a track.
Yes.
Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
There's a rail track over there, but damned if we ever see it.
Okay. Well, that's why
What-
I'm
What are
trying
we
to
gonna
ask
tell the
question of the
guy?
party.
Let's get back to the game.
That's
Right. Strategy.
uh,
He's gonna ask about how the meeting went. I just told his guy to say we have settled the differences civilly.
Alright.
So that's, bullet point 1.
Saying too little will tip off his employer.
Well, that's why I say bullet point 1. As for moving forward, we could just say that since we have settled the problems that were immediately involving us, and we have our own pressing business to tend to, we're not going to become involved, and we intend to leave shortly. And that can be a complete and utter lie, because we are going to stick around and keep fudging with stuff. But we do have, a good reason to say that we're going to keep moving. Like, we came here for a reason on important business, and this has derailed us entirely. So now that the derail has been settled, we can quite reasonably say we need to get back to business.
Or we could tell him a fraction of the truth, which is that after speaking with him, we believe that he has no malevolent intentions, and that we do not no longer suspect him in the matter.
Right.
We don't
I mean-
suspect him, and we'll be on our merry way now.
Yes. That's basically what I meant. I didn't convey it as well as I would have liked.
While I'm saying that we should be on our merry way, we do actually have more pressing matters outside of town. And we
Well, that-
But
do we?
actually, we don't.
Yeah, we
Because
don't
we
anymore,
felt way too-
considering that we ran into the pressing matter, and it's kind of following us, sort
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Right. And besides, we still have to meet with Gex, who is still tied up in meetings. So
Right. So let's just stick with the very basic story of we don't believe he's up to anything after speaking with him. Maybe his reaction will tip us off to something, maybe it won't. But, it should get him off of our backs in order for us to continue investigating stuff.
Right.
right.
Or maybe he'll be willing to try to help with our investigation. We'll just keep the information or our suspicions to ourselves, and whatever. We'll just see how it goes.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
Let's do that.
fine. Well, a while later, there's a knock on your door. This is right about dinner time.
Answer the door.
Right. And it is, unsurprisingly, Elder Goldhelm.
All right.
And he says, I've heard from my chief of security that you seem to have resolved things fairly well with Elder Stoneground. Just wanted to check in, make sure. Did you? I admit to being curious as to how you managed to settle things quite so well. I mean,
Well, after speaking directly with him, he appeared to have nothing malevolent about him, and so we took him at his word that he knew nothing about the situation.
huh?
And you promised you weren't gonna be starting shit with us again, so that's pretty good.
Is there
Interesting.
anything suspicious? Is he trying to?
I'm not good at it.
Is there some? Does he appear at all surprised in a way that indicates he is hiding something from us? Insight. Oh no.
Well, he does appear surprised.
No. Well, I all right. Is that plainly obvious that he seems surprised?
Yes.
Well, it should be.
Okay,
Because I rolled a one.
We are
Okay.
blind as fuck.
Then Videus will sort of follow up, like,
Yes. All of your passive
Is there
insights are
something-
all of your passive insights are high enough that his look of surprise when you tell him that you believe that Stoneground is actually innocent in all of this, he looks surprised.
is there something the matter with that conclusion, sir?
It
Elder.
just seems surprising, is all. I mean, given given his reputation, I would have, I guess my information, I've gotten some, as I said, I had some information that he was, up to something, but I guess my sources could be wrong.
What sources were those then? Did you place great trust in them normally?
Is the door open?
Oh no, the door. You guys, he's inside and the door's closed.
Okay.
He said, "Oh, my source. I've got, I've having been, working on the council for as long as have, and knowing as many people as I do, I know people all over the place in all sorts of walks of life, and I've heard from several people that he's been sort of angling for a power play at the treasurer's seat, and that he would stop at basically nothing to get it.
What makes this so different from the rest of dwarven politics?
Well, his connections are a bit more unsavory than most. That's sort of an open secret on the council. It's the worst kept secret amongst the nobility, honestly, that he's got connections to one of the. His family has connections to one of the better known criminal families in Ironhame.
Hmm.
Now,
That really isn't an answer to my question. Are his tactics odd? How
they're
is-
disreputable.
I think
They're far less honorable and.
I mean, is this treasurer position something that might be in contention fairly soon?
Well, the Elder Ironforge is quite old and not well. His health is declining rapidly. His health has been on the downswing. I shouldn't say declining rapidly, but his health has been on the downswings for quite some time. So I wouldn't think. I suspect he'll serve for at least a few more years, at a guess.
Right. A few more years.
But I mean,
yeah.
Or it could be
Definitely
longer.
not.
I mean, he's been sickly for at least a decade. But he shows no signs of wanting to relinquish his hold on the position, and his mind is as sharp as ever.
If here's a question. Okay, I'm thinking out of character. This might be a bad idea to ask this type of question, but this is a type of question I would want to ask as Vendeus, though. So, if it's so well known that Stoneground associates with such lower entities, why would he utilize them as a means to achieve some sort of goal when it's such an easy thing to trace back to him?
I don't think that's a good question to ask.
Yeah, don't ask that.
Don't ask.
I mean,
that. I have a better question to ask this guard person.
Yeah, it's like if he's known for being disreputable, how is he on the council in the first place?
I have a question I'd like to ask this guy before we go into that.
Okay.
Because I don't think I haven't heard anything about this, but does Ironforge or whatever, what's his name?
Ironhelm. Ironforge, yes. Ironforge, yes.
Does he have a preferred pick for his own replacement?
He has said that of the junior, the newest members of the council, the only one he considers qualified is Stoneground. To be brutally honest. But he doesn't consider Stoneground particularly qualified either. He's made it known that of them that Stoneground's the only one who's close to being qualified, and that he thoroughly intends to hold on to his position until a more qualified person can be found. He doesn't like Stoneground. I mean, virtually nobody on the council likes Stoneground. He's not a very likable individual.
I'm sure like
Job's like, fuck yeah, I ain't.
But
Jerky jerk.
I'm loath to admit this, but he's effective. And there are times that his penchant for machination and strong arm tactics, which he's fond of both, have been of value.
Then,
but I personally would prefer he were not on one of the major seats. But
can you get us a meeting with one of the other junior councilors?
Maybe. Any particular reason why?
I would just like to speak to one. I am a bit curious as to a few things that can only be answered by those in the those available for this position of treasurer, since it seems to be a core to all this?
I can try, but without a good actual sort of excuse, they're
Reason.
not likely. A good reason they wouldn't. They're unlikely to take such a meeting unless there's a good reason for it.
Hmm.
Out of character, what are you hoping to accomplish with this question? Because it doesn't seem like something we should bother with.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
wanting to poke at one of the other two.
No, that's pretty. You mean?
No, I mean the other two. Because Bronze Shadow is not it is not an option here. I don't think. I specifically wanted to talk to one of the other two, and see what what they say in relation to all these things, to see how matched or unmatched it is to what we
Effectively, you want to see they corroborate on the claim that that
I wanna see what
Stoneground
the-
is as unliked as Goldhelm is implying that he is.
Yes, in addition to things in addition to like how unsavory his connections actually are, and how they feel about that and all that. Like, I just want to see how much of this
Is slander
replicate.
or libel, right?
I want to see how much of this replicates from other council members.
Okay.
So I'm kind of wanting to try to meet Shield Spike or whatever his name was. The
I
one
got
who-
an idea.
Still spoke.
I would like to jump in after Catherine's question,
Okay.
and I will say, during our meeting, when we addressed the idea of his attempting to make political gains, he was quite critical of his rivals for the position, and so we wanted to determine exactly how well-founded his criticisms of them were. In particular, he seemed to believe that Bronze Shadow was far too inexperienced to take up such an important position. And from there, I'm going to carefully study his
Reaction.
his
Okay.
reaction to that.
Then you should give me an insight check.
Yeah. Ah!
All right.
Oh, think pork.
He crosses his arms, leans back in the chair a little bit, cocks his head. Bronze Shadow too inexperienced for the position. Well, he's. All three, Steel Spike, Bronze Shadow, and Goblin Hero, none of them are as experienced. Have the experience either on the council or with the sort of duties the treasurer has that Stoneground would have. So, I suspect yes, that would be his opinion. But you say he seemed pretty vehement about it. Well, that's sort of in character, I guess. As an aside, Nick,
Yeah.
while he's saying all of this, you notice very briefly he sort of has there's definitely he reacted to it and he didn't seem pleased about the question. You get a feeling that there's I'm not sure exactly how to phrase what the implication you get from it is.
Okay.
Well, how
There's
was
something-
his body language? Did he have an eye twitch as he said it?
It's nothing that overt. Sort of something about the way his breath caught before he started talking,
Right.
and sort of maybe something a little about the tone
Basically,
of his
this
voice.
hesitation, other sort of
He
minor tells that one would have for.
Yeah.
So he didn't appreciate a criticism being brought up, even if
Yes.
it was indirect.
Yes,
Okay.
definitive. That definitively. But there's something else there that you can't put your finger on.
Okay. Okay.
I would like to... What was the name of the third one? There was...
Namir Goblin
Stone-
Hero?
Goblin Hewer.
No, the other one.
Stone
Steel Spike?
Goblin Hewer.
Stone
Or
Spike.
Steel Spike.
Steel Spike. Yes. Steel Spike.
Yeah, that was the first guy.
Yes. That's the one whose name I couldn't remember. I want to organize a meeting with Steel Spike. All you simply have to tell is that we are a group of individuals who have knowledge of some action that might threaten him, and would like to inform him directly.
Mm.
I'm not liking that.
That sounds very threatening.
Yes, that sounds
Like,
like
that
we're the
sounds
ones
like a
getting
threat.
fight.
Yeah, beyond
Yeah.
yeah, beyond being threatening, that makes it sound like we are making an active effort to get all into this shit, as opposed to we're just kind of bystanders and we're just kind of we're
Right.
just curious like what's what.
I'm not sure if the term collusion is what applies here, but just
Yeah, that would definitely be us colluding.
yeah. So we're acting
Yeah,
like
that's.
it's
I,
my question was
yes.
I'm
I'm cutting.
fine
my-
with withdrawing my earlier question there, but all right. So at this point, Fideas is just sort of mulling over things a little bit while Hana's asking question.
Well, I mean, if you really want to get a feel for his, I guess his level of, I mean,
I'm just
so Nick, what was it exactly you were asking again? I'm sort of trying to remind myself.
I was clarifying Kathra's to basically pull us out of the fire and make it seem like we didn't know a bunch of stuff, basically.
Okay.
I didn't actually ask a question. I just mentioned the reason why she's curious is because of this stuff that he mentioned.
Fair
that
enough.
we've
Okay.
heard. Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, well, he sort of says, well,
And I will not add to that.
I'd like to help you. And if I can think of a good angle to get you in to see any of them, I guess I'll try it. But I, for the life of me, can't think of a good one that would be enough of a reason to get you access, basically. He shrugs.
I'm out of character. I'm really tempted to have Ramia just say, "Don't worry about it. We don't actually need to speak with any of them. Some of us are just more curious than we should be, and just like not engage."
Actually, when he says that, knowing that what we know about his influence, getting Bronze Shadow his position, does that sound like a lie?
Now you can give me another insight check.
18.
It sounds a little untruthful.
Okay.
He's hiding it pretty well, but
Right. I guess it's one of those things. Yeah. Okay. He doesn't.
yeah, knowing what you know, you're fairly certain he can get you meeting with Bronze Shadow at will, if you realistically.
Yeah. Although, I guess
just
the
that-
question is, does it seem like an option he does not want to have to call upon, or something where he just doesn't want us to see him at all, basically? That's the one I was looking
Okay,
for.
I see what you're saying. Okay, that's actually a good question. With an 18, you're not entirely sure.
Yeah, it's okay.
He definitely doesn't want to use his influence, but the reason why he doesn't is not clear to you. And
Yeah.
given the angle you're taking, you're not. You probably don't want to, call him on it.
Right. Don't want to dig into it. Yeah.
Not overtly, at least.
Okay. So I guess we have the need to actually come up with a really good excuse in order to get one of these meetings, or we need to just employ underhanded, sneaky measures outside of this guy's attention. So,
Or we could just stay out of dwarven politics.
well,
Or I could sleep with his wife.
Jorm,
I don't know. I think that sounds like a fun
Yeah, man.
idea.
put your pants back on.
That sounds like a fun idea.
Catherine's just sitting in the corner in the
Catherine,
dark
you
with
are-
a cigarette.
Catherine, stop taking after Gorm's example to go sleeping with people's wives.
I'm a
Anyway,
little above porn.
anyway,
Well, as I said, I'll
What's up,
Sorry, yeah, you were sketch. Sorry.
I had a thought, and then I kind of got a bit.
I got lost. Happens to me all the
Yeah.
time.
I hate that feeling. Yeah. Let's see. All right, so we can either allow this to end with him just, with him just denying us a chance to see them, and then take up some other option later, or if you guys can help with anything else, because I'm kind of dry at this point, then let's, I guess, hear it.
I don't think that we should be talking to any of these three. I don't have a problem with continuing, looking into matters about this, but I don't think this is the avenue we should pursue.
Oh, I got it. Addressing another option here, I will ask him who the criminal organization the thugs were allegedly tied to was.
Oh, right. Okay.
If you don't have a name right now, that's fine. I just want to know if we can have that information.
Yes, you can. He'll actually tell you that. You can
Awesome.
yes. Oh,
Then if we want to, we will find this organization.
Oh, I like how stilted everything's become.
Okay.
Yeah, he's actually managed at this point. He said, "Yeah, I've actually heard from the captain that they from the captain of the watch, Captain what's his name again? Chief Ironshield. That's it. Yes. From Chief Ironshield, they're tied to insert gang name here. I'll think of one later.
Got it.
The name of the gang really isn't that important right now.
The Fuchsia Tights.
The Insert Gang is a very dangerous gang indeed.
You better be
No,
fucking
no.
awesome if you got that name, yeah.
No, it would have to be the Viridian Gang.
Because green?
I'm joking.
They're the Warriors.
Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, alright, so I guess...
Giovanni Greenstone.
Oh dear. Anyways,
Oh.
Disappointment.
Now I get it. Okay.
Disappointment. That was wonderful.
Alright. Okay.
yes, he can tell you the name of the gang.
Alright, good. I mean, that's all I got. If you guys can think of anything else, that's it. Otherwise, I think we're gonna wish this guy
A good day.
good luck, basically.
All right. Well, he
I have something to say as he's going.
okay. Well, as he's going, as he gets up, he says, "Well, if you, I'm sorry, I can't be of more help, but if you really do need to talk to one of them, I guess you could try making an appointment with them. I can't guarantee you'll get in, though.
Well, thank you.
Talk to their, just talk to their reception. Talk to their, they have business hours. You can try to make an appointment. Whether they'll see you or not, he shrugs.
I'm just going to say, I'm sorry that we could not be of help in the matter today, but I sincerely wish that this matter will be resolved and the person responsible for this act is brought to justice.
Indeed.
Insight check on his reaction.
Go for it.
Ah! Fuck you, average roll.
Slightly above average roll.
He doesn't seem particularly. He doesn't come across as particularly suspicious about it. He seems a little curt, but
Okay.
that could just be that he's.
That could mean anything. He could think that I'm saying something empty. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he wishes you all a good day, and with that, he leaves. If there's anything you guys want to handle now before I get to the last bit for today's session.
The thing I wanted to do, I do not want to do in the safe house. Period.
Okay. Well, coming up in a bit, so about an hour later, the Chief Ironshield shows up. He says, he lets you know that basically, they've managed to shake things, create enough doubt that you guys really shouldn't be. You guys, that he was able to get you guys released from prison.
Hooray!
Basically, he's managed to.
Hotel I've stayed in ages.
So you guys are welcome to. You guys are welcome to go back to your inn if you'd like.
Yeah. I will do so.
Though he does ask that as long as you're staying in Ironhame until the matter is completely resolved, to at least let him know where you're staying if you go somewhere else. That ideally he preferred if you didn't leave Ironhame until the matter is actually resolved. Till they actually have
Right.
someone arrested, someone actually arrested for this. Because even Detective what's his name, is admitting that it seems likely you guys were framed. But now he doesn't want you leaving because you're now actually witnesses.
Right.
Damn it.
Hooray!
Charges on this case. Now we have another case, and you need to stick around for it. Ah!
Exactly. All right. So before we wrap up, what are you guys thinking about doing next time?
I gotta say,
So as we're
personally,
walking back, seeing as we've already seen Nameless mucking about in one village and mucking about in the mines here, I want to bet Nameless are involved here too.
Nah.
Possibly, though it maybe, but it's equally just as likely that it's just a matter of political muddling
it's really,
here. So.
I wouldn't be able to tell the difference if someone were making deals with Gloom or just trying to do backhand dwarven politics.
Right.
At this moment, anyway. Not until something more powerful gets invoked.
Right.
Which is kind of what, if it is Gloom, this is some exceedingly shrewd shit from both him and the dude he made a deal with. Because I don't know about you, I'd probably just I'd make a deal for power and then just kind of show it off.
Well, probably our first bet would be to then go and talk with the leaden panties.
Yeah, I kind of want to go.
So,
I kind of want to meet.
Until you come up with a name, I'm going to come up with the most ridiculous ones I can for this gang.
I want to meet the warriors and see what they have to say.
Ask if they can come out to play.
Can we dig it, though? Can we dig it?
What?
That was one of the best opening speeches in any film.
It's a good speech.
Wait, what is that a reference to?
That's from the Warriors also.
I never heard of that.
It's the opening
The
speech.
Warriors is a movie from the 70s.
Yes.
The joke was that I quoted the Warriors and then immediately state that I've never seen it. But
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
I
I got
it.
it, Sketch.
I got it.
though to be fair, I actually have never seen it though.
You know what's referencing right
Yeah,
here.
I pretty much knew what was going on, but I couldn't really appreciate it because I have not seen the film.
Neither have I. So
Anyway, so they've all got their plans. I'm trying to think of how to phrase this.
Okay.
As opposed to being in the inn, our army is just going to kind of try and find an out-of-the-way area where people aren't really going to be going frequently at all.
Okay.
And she's going to attempt to call Gloom.
Ah, all right. I'll want to handle that on next session.
Yes, I know.
All right.
That's why I'm making my declaration of my intent for next session now.
Okay. So,
I will make this small note. I do not plan on. I don't necessarily plan on sleeping at the inn. I'm actually going to petition the fellows at the Whisperer Church to see if I can sleep on a pew or something.
okay. I will
We
keep all
crashed
that
at
in
the
mind.
bar. Bars are awesome.
All right. So, you guys are probably going to look into the gang. Word wants to try and contact Gloom. Got it. Okay. So that will happen next session. Oh, I forgot. You guys got paid for doing the whole thing in the mines.
Oh, thank pork.
Before I forget, I actually promised you guys money for that.
How much?
You do get paid. Each of you gets 50 gold, and you will have some further considerations later, possibly. When it is more politically
willing to have my debt be settled with Mr. Groundstone if he gave me a next slot item.
Yes. As an aside, the future consideration will probably happen after the whole murder plot that whole thing is resolved, when it's more politically convenient to do so. Obviously.
Right.
At any rate, that's going to do it for this session. Thank you, everybody, thank you guys. I hope you all had fun. Thank you for the people watching us live. I hope you all enjoyed the session.
Sorry I came an hour late.
It happens. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys hopefully next week. See you guys soon. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Bye. Sleep is the devil.
Bye.